Okay, so welcome to our video session for today. So we'll now proceed to the topic influence lines. And as for our learning objectives, we intend to first define influence line diagram. Number 2, recognize the purpose of the influence line diagram. And then we intend to identify and describe the methods in establishing IL diagram. And from that, we select the best method in establishing the IL diagram. And of course, to illustrate the influence diagram itself. So before we proceed to the definition of the IL diagram or the influence line diagram, let me revisit you in our previous topic, bending moment and shear force diagram. So bending moment and shear force diagram show the variation of bending moment and shear force along a structural element or the beam. So when a load or a set of loads is applied to the structural element, points of actions of these loads are fixed. So meaning it is not changing whenever you're on its location. Okay? It is fixed in terms of its location. So these diagrams are useful to determine the maximum bending moment and shear force developed in the member and the locations of the maximum values due to the application of loads. So we have also gone through with the sign convention in terms of the shear, the moment, and the normal force. So if the normal force is just either tensile or compressive in nature. So when we have a tensile that is actually stretching, or your arrow is away from your member and it is parallel to the axis. And then for the shear force, well, shear force, we just follow the sign convention wherein an upward force is a positive and then that downward force is a negative. So bending moment is we do not rely on the direction of the rotation, but either we are going to consider the fiber, whether it is concaving upwards, that is a positive, and concaving downwards, that is a negative sign. Okay, so this is just a review wherein we have a positive normal force, the arrow is away from the joint, and the positive shear tends to rotate your member clockwise, and a positive bending moment is bending your member upwards as if it is holding water. Okay, so bending moment and shear force diagrams could be derived by the methods that was introduced to you, and of course you have already gone through with the illustrating shear diagram and bending diagrams. So for individual beam, we could establish its individual bending moment and shear force diagram. And if we have a continuous beam, we could also do that. Okay. So moving on to our definition of the IL or influence lines, when the applied load is not fixed, meaning it is already moving. So this time we are dealing with moving loads. So moving loads has a lot of applications, especially in engineering. Practical example would be a bridge facility wherein the load is not fixed, or actually it is transferring from one place to another. So we use influence lines to determine the impact of live load moving loads at a single point as the load moves across the beam. So influence lines are important in the design of structures that resist live load. So through your influence line, you can foresee, or you can simulate, or look at the behavior or the response of your structure when it is loaded. Okay, and your loading again is moving. So here is a sample of the influence line. Say a simple beam where there is a reaction at B, the influence line diagram for reaction at A, the influence line diagram for the shear at C, and we could also have the influence line diagram for moment at C. So as a definition, it represents the variation of the reaction, shear, moment, or deflection at a specific point in a member as a concentrated loads moves over the member. So whatever your point of interest, say if it is reaction, or it is a shear, or a moment, or deflection, you can establish the influence line so that you can design appropriately your structure out of those criteria. Okay. So they provide a systematic procedure for determining how the reaction, shear, moment, or deflection in a given part of a structure varies as the applied load moves about on the structure. So comparing it to the bending moment diagram, difference between constructing an influence line and constructing a shear or moment diagram are as follows. We have influence lines represent the effect of a moving load only at a specified point on a member. Bending moment diagrams represent the effect of fixed loads at all points along the axis of the member. So for this first difference, unlike in bending moment diagram or shear diagram, the whole diagram represents all the forces on the whole structure. Unlike influence line, it only represents, or a single influence line only represents certain point. Okay, say if the point is at point C, and what is your concern at point C, you can draw a shear influence line at C. So that influence line only represents your shear at C, but it does not represent another point or some other points in the beam. Okay, so if you're concerned with the reaction at B, that only represent, or the IL, the influence line, only represents reaction at B alone. So it does not present the any other reaction on the beam, such as reaction at A or another reaction. So it does represent a certain point only, a specific one. So for bending moment diagrams, effect of the fixed load at all points along the axis of the member. So methods of producing influence lines. Number one, we are going to use a unit load. So this unit load is moving from left to right. Number two, select the point of interest. So it is actually the unknown in the problem, or If you are a designer, you might be concerned with the reaction at a certain points. Again, this specified. The shear at a certain point, the moment at a certain point, or a deflection at a certain point. So should be identified. Okay? And then place the moving load at various points and use statics principle to find the reaction, shear moment, or deflection at the point of interest. So plot the values over the length of the beam computed for the point under consideration. So again, this stated here that the point under consideration, meaning your influence line is exclusive for that particular point only, but that does not represent any other point in the beam or a structural member. So make life easier. For statically determinate structures, you get straight lines, although the line of slope may change as the load passes over key points. So normally, your influence line is represented by straight lines, okay, as you can see in the sample. So there are various influence lines for various points, okay. So it could be a reaction, it could be a shear, or it could be a moment. So again, it will depend on our concern. So why use a unit load for an influence line? First and foremost, one is easy to multiply by the weight of anything or any member of things I want. Number two, influence lines are popular for studying the impact of moving variable loads on bridges and other such structures. Then we have to obtain the reaction, shear moment, or deflection due to any applied load, multiply the ordinate of influence line diagram by the value of load. So we know that in actual, your concentrated load or distributed load could be of various values, okay, with different values. By simply taking one as a unit load, you just have to multiply it by your influence line diagram, and that will be the effect on your beam or structure. Say for example, if we have a 60 kilonewton axle load of a certain truck loading, you might just multiply that by 1 so that we could determine the effect on that particular point. So influence line all over bending moment or shear force diagram. Influence lines represent the effect of a moving load only at a specified point on a member. So let me emphasize that the effect is concentrated only on a certain specified point. And unlike, again, in the shear and moment diagram, although the load is fixed, your diagram pictures or depicts the effect at all points along the member. So procedures to determine influence lines. So here are the procedures to determine influence lines. We have tabular procedure and influence line equations, in which we will explore by and by. So for the tabular procedure to determine the influence line, number one, place a unit load, so a load whose magnitude is equal to 1 at the point X along the member. So X here is changing starting from left to right. and then use the equations of equilibrium to find the value of the function. So whether it is reaction, shear, or a moment at a specific point due to the concentrated load at x. So repeat steps 1 and 2 for various values of x over the whole beam. And then we are going to plot the values of the reaction, shear, or moment for the member. So let us consider now an example. So construct the influence line for the vertical reaction at A of the beam. So we place unit loads from left to right. So X here is changing. So if you notice, if we are going to place here a concentrated load equivalent to 1 at point A here, your AY will be automatically be equal to 1 and your BY would be equal to 0. And our concern here is the reaction at A, or AY here in the figure. So on the transfer of the loading, we are going to determine the value of RA every time we transfer this loading from one point to another. So it is up for the designer how he would divide the whole span into segments, transferring one from one point to another. So in this case, if you notice, it is just divided into quarter, or divided into four segments. So one will be transferring from 0 to 0.55 and then 7.5 until it will reach 10 here. So one technique is by the influence line equation, wherein our concern is reaction at A. So we'll just have to denote this one here with its distance x from A. Okay, so I'll just name this as x, so that the remaining distance here would be 10 minus x. So if we are concerned with the reaction at A, we'll just have to take summation moments along B to get A in terms of x. So basically we have a counterclockwise moment, -1, with the moment arm of 10 less x, and then plus your AY times 10, and this closes to 0. Solving now for AY, so AY is equal to 10 minus x, so 1 there will just become positive all over 10. So we can reduce that equation or simplify that to 1 minus 1 all over 10 of x. So from this, we'll just have to tabulate x versus the corresponding reaction at A. Say we have divided that into 4 segments. So from 0, it will transfer to 2.5, and then to 5, and then 7.5 until 10. Okay? So this is the time you take advantage of the calc function of your calculator. Okay, so we're going to use calc function for a faster results. So first, you are going to enter this equation. Say we press 1, we press the minus sign, and then you would want to enclose your fraction there. Just insert your fraction, 1 divided by 10. Okay, so enclose that by parenthesis, and then multiply that by x. So we're going to represent x by the variable a in your calcu. So alpha a, or you may use the x variable or alpha x. And then after inputting your equation, just press calc function. Okay, note that you don't have to use a shift function here because calc is a direct function of your calculator or the primary function of your calc button. And then it will appear on the screen that it will let you input your first value of your x. First value of x is 0, and then just press equal sign, and on screen it will give you the value of RA, which is 1. Okay, when x is 0, RA is 1, and then just press again equal sign, and then it will let you change or enter the value of a or x. This time you're going to replace that by 2.5 value. So you will obtain RA on these various values by just taking advantage of the calc function of your calculator. Okay, so that is by influence line equation. So this is actually equation. So all you need to remember is to represent your reaction in terms of x, so that x will just be substituted all over again. Okay. So moving on, we transfer 1 to x is equal to 5, and then and so on and so forth, and this will be now the tabulated data, and the tabulated data will be plotted, and upon plotting you will now have your influence line for the reaction at A. So this is the figure. So for the second problem, we construct the influence line for the vertical reaction at B of the beam. So we are now concerned with the vertical reaction at B in this figure. So the idealized structure for these members, of course, a pin and a roller. So notice that your roller is placed not on the far end, so that there will be a overhang portion here. So just the same, we are going to place the unit load measured from A at X, and then solve for the corresponding reaction at B. So we need to determine the equation by taking moments. So summation moments at A, we can obtain that equation. Okay, so taking moments at A, we have 1 by x minus 5 by 1 by RB. Okay, so we have RB will be equal to x all over 5. So we wanted to check your equation if it is applicable all throughout the beam. So if we're going to transfer 1 here to this segment and denote that as our x now, if we perform this, it will arrive at the same equation. So basically, this equation is now applicable all throughout the beam. So it is safe to use this equation from A to B until your far end here, say point C. Okay, say point C. So by that, we can see now that one is transferred from one location to another. So at segment AB, and then we'll transfer until this one. So all we have to do here is to use this established equation. And again, you might want to take advantage of your calc function in your calculator. So these were tabulated as follows: 0, 2.5, 5, 7.5 until 10. Okay, so the maximum will be at the far end of your overhang portion, wherein the value is equivalent to 2. Okay, so when x is 5, the value here is 1. When x is 0, we have here 0, and this is 0.5. At 7.5, we have 1.5 value. So it is represented really by a straight line here. Okay, so as we can see, this slide also presented the equation in which we will just have to substitute your x. So next, another example, construct the IL for the shear at point C of the beam. So this time, we are now concerned with the shear at C. So we simply have first our idealized structure. So there is pin here and the roller at the other end. Then place your unit load 1, wherein 1 is transferring, okay, from one point to another. Say this is A and this is B. Okay, so C is measured 2.5 from A. So just apply your knowledge in establishing the shear equation. So the shear equation is just cutting your member and then consider the left portion. Say if this is section AA, the cut section has a shear a normal force, and a moment, and the moment. And of course, RA is also involved here, or the reaction at A is involved. So as a rule, recalling the rule that Vx is simply equal to summation forces along Y, wherein positive going up and negative going down. So all we need is RA when one is transferring from left to right. So perhaps we can place here the unit load 1 with the distance x. So if we are going to have summation when x is equal to 1, we would want to tabulate first our RA. Okay, so if your x is 0, your RA will be equal to 1, considering the whole structure. Okay, so if you transfer your 1 along C, say x now will be equal to 2.5, then we first get the reaction at A, so that we will include it on the summation forces vertical in this equation. So doing that, we'll just take summation moments at B. Of course, it will involve here the distance 10 minus x. So therefore, summation moments at B we have -1 times 10 minus x plus 10 RA is equal to 0. So RA is equal to 1 minus 1 all over 10 of x. So this is the value of our RA. So applying this Vx for the shear at C, okay, for the shear at C, we have Vc is equal to -1, the unit load here, and then reaction at A, that is going upwards, plus 1 minus 1/10 of x. So therefore, we can simplify this Vc, -1 plus 1 minus 1/10 of x, so that this is simply cancelled. Okay, and we substitute 2.5 when x is equal to 2.5. Your shear at C is equal to -1/10 of 2.5, and shear at C is actually -0.05. 25. So this is the situation wherein your 1 is still included in your segment. So therefore, this value should be denoted as just left of C. Because once 1 here moves towards right along the beam, it will now be excluded in your section AA. Okay? It will now be excluded in your section AA. So basically, this is what I'm telling a while ago, that your VC here would now would not be applicable to segment CB. Why? Because as you can see, again, I wanted to emphasize that say this is, let us withdraw our section, cut section. Say your cut section is considering the left portion. You just have a section that is just left of C. So just left of C. It's your RE. Your 1 here is still within the section. So meaning 1 here is included in your equation. However, if it will move just left, just right of point C, just right of C, your section would be RE, and your 1 have jumped to segment CB. So just right of C, 1 is no longer in the segment AC. So we can foresee from this figure, just right of C, your shear at C by the rule of summation forces vertical, your VC is simply equal to RE. Okay? Your VC is simply equal to RE. So that is just right of C, and then at any point whenever 1 is moving towards right until B, just the same, it will yield to a cut section like this, wherein 1 here, regardless of the distance, still your section is like this. Okay, it is not changing. So therefore, along span CB, we have a constant value of reaction at A. Okay, VC is equal to reaction at A. So moving on, is also emphasized here in the slide. So 1 here is just left of C. So in this slide, it's represented by negative or 2.5 negative. So meaning negative is towards this direction. So therefore, your cut section, we have a reaction. 1 here is still on the section or the cut section. Okay. And then solving for the reaction, the shear at C is negative 0.25. Okay. So if this is your cut section, this is RA, this is 1, this is 2.5. So 1 is placed at 2.5, and if your unit load is 2.5 from A, your reaction is equal to 0.75. Okay. So considering the whole structure, we have this one, and this is 2.5, that is 7.5. So this is RA. Summation moments at 3. Negative 1 times 7.5 plus 10 RA is equal to 0. So RA is 0.75. So here it is. So when we have this one, circle the shear at C. VC is equal to downwards negative 1 plus upwards 0.75. So therefore VC is negative 0.25. So here it is. So in this case, the solution makes use of the right portion of the beam. Okay. So just the same, it will yield to the same answer. Okay. So next, so this is a representation wherein 1 begins to move away from C. So this is just right of C, wherein if you're going to cut this section and consider the right or the left portion, we have just the same. This is 0.75, and we do not have any other loading aside from shear at C. So shear at C will be constant from C to B, that is equal to 0.75. So applying this rule, summation forces Y is equal to 0. Okay. when x is 2.5. So this came from VC is equal to RA. Okay? Since this is actually a changing value, RA. So as x moves, RA changes value. Okay? So when x is 2.5, your shear at C is 0.75, which is also the value for RA. So we would want to represent your reaction at A by x so that we will have a more convenient solution. So this is 1 x, then minus x, and this is RA. The summation moments at P, negative 1 times 10 less x plus 10 RA. So can be written as 1 minus 1 over 10 of x. So when x is equal to 5, what will be the value of RA? Again, we make use of our calc function and then tabulate. Say x, and this is RA. So when x is 2.5, your RA is 0.75, and if your x is half of 10, that is 5, 1 minus 5 over 10, or 1 half. This is equal to 0.5, and if your x is 7.5, then this is 0.25, and if your x is 10, your RA would be equal to 0. So therefore, from C up to this point, say this is point B, this corresponds to the shear at C. So just right of 2.5, your RA is equal to the shear at C. So we'll have to copy whatever the value of RA, because VC is equal to RA just right of C. Okay. So finally, this is the result. So if you notice, just right of C, here's the transition, just right of C, from here up to that point, that is decreasing value, 0.75, 0.5, 0.25, until will yield to 0. And a while ago, we have actually derived the value of the shear at C from this segment, from A to C. Okay? And then from C to B, we have also determined the values. So finally, this will be our influence line for the shear at C. So next, let us now consider number 4 example. Draw an influence line for the reaction shear and moment for both points A and B using the tabular method. So first, the reaction at point A. So when we have a cantilever beam, there is only a single reaction here at the support force. So at support, there will be a vertical reaction. See, this is RE. There will be also moment at A. And then we do not have any horizontal force. So if we're going to place, say, by tabular method, you just have to tabulate X versus RA. So if your X is 0, what would be your RA? We're going to place here 1 at X0. Therefore, your reaction at A will be equal to 1. So if we transfer it here, still your RA will be equal to 1. Or anywhere in the beam, your RA would be still equal to 1. Anywhere until the far end here. So therefore, all throughout the beam, the value is equal to 1. So therefore, your influence line would be like this. Okay. 1 all throughout. So this is the influence line diagram for reaction at E. So next, let us shift now to bending moment at point E. So bending moment at point E is located at that point. There will be RA here. So if we are going to have influence line from A to B, all we have to do is take moments at A to solve for MA. So if we do that by tabular method, saying X against moment at A, so if your X is 0, your couple would be equal to 0 because 1 here is passing through point A, therefore there will be no moment R for the first position of your unit load. So let us have 5 minus Okay, so what do we mean, what is meant by minus? This is just left of B. Okay. And what would be the value? So 1 here will be transferred. Summation moments at E. We have 1 times 5 minus ME is equal to C. So your ME is equal to 5 kilonewton meter. So if we consider just right of B, this is 5 plus, or just right of B, we will still yield at the same value of moment. And by the way, this is negative because this is counterclockwise. Then finally, when x is 10, so we again perform that summation moments. So your unit load will be now on this position. Therefore, that is 1 by 10 minus ME is equal to 0. Hence, ME is equal to positive negative 10. So you might ask that why is it that we have a negative sign here? Because your direction for the moment is counterclockwise as drawn here. However, in your solution, we will just be concerned with these values, okay? And that should be denoted by a negative sign. So if you want to have adaptation of this sign convention wherein concaving downwards is negative and concaving upwards as positive, because we are actually getting the value of the bending moment or from the moment equation. Therefore, we just have to adapt this. So if this is adapted, first the effect is your downward force here would tend to have a concaving downwards, that is should be negative, and your MA as well is also negative. So therefore, this is negative 5 and then placing your unit load here 1, that is 1 times 10. So we do not rely with this sign convention anymore, but rather we are going to use this. Therefore this is negative, that is also negative, so therefore this is negative 10. So hence your influence line diagram is like this for the moment at E. So in this case, it was divided into 3 segments. Segment 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 10. So if we're going to place here, remember that 1 will cause a rotation as it moves away from A. So whatever the value of x here, your MA is equal to, see, this is a negative rotation, negative 1 times x. Okay, so if you're going to substitute by tabular method, so if x is 3, your ME is negative 3, and if your x is negative 6, sorry, so if your x is 6, then your ME is negative 6, and if your x is 10, then your ME is negative 10. So this is the graph or the influence line diagram for the moment at A. So a while ago we have obtained when x is 5, we have negative 5 value for that. Okay. So moving on to the other requirement, influence line for shear force at point B. So again, we consider a cut section saying AA. First there will be MA here, and then RE. So for convenience, sometimes we could consider a more convenient section. So this time I'm going to consider here a section BB, considering the right portion. So why do we need to consider the right portion? It is much convenient because on that we do not need to deal with this reaction. Okay. So if your one is placed anywhere along AB, okay, so placing it here, placing it there, place it here, as long as it is just left of B, then you can see here, say this is shear force B, 1 is just left of B, therefore there will be no loading at this segment. Okay, so therefore shear is equal to 0. If your unit load is within A to B. However, once it will be present on your segment, there will be 1. 1 will now be counted in your summation forces vertical is equal to 0. Okay. Hence, your VB is no longer equal to 0 but is equal to 1. So this is the scenario. Just right of B. Okay. Perhaps we can redraw this just left of B wherein it's the cut section. This is VB and 1 is still within AB. Therefore, VB is equal to 0. So illustrating the influence line, it would look like this. When your unit load is within AB, your shear at B is 0. But once your B will enter the segment B to C, if I'm going to name this as C, it will have a constant value 1 up to the far end of the cantilever B. Okay. So next, so influence line for the bending moment at point B. So this time we are concerned with the moment of B. Of course, we need to illustrate. So again, we will consider the right portion. So at the right portion, say this is the right portion, this is the cut section. There will be a shear at B here and moment at B. So A to B. So if your unit load is within A to B, anywhere, as long as within A to B, your unit load is not present on this cut section. Therefore, there will be no loading here. So VB is equal to 0. At the same time, your rotation will be equal to 0 as well. And again, if your unit load will begin to enter B, so this is just left of B and just right of B. We have VB here and moment at B. Therefore, 1 here will be included. So this is X. Okay. So we can now tabulate your X here. So your X will be measured from point B at this So when x is 0, your moment at B is also equal to 0. So if x is, say, 2.5, your moment at B will be negative 2.5. And if x is 5, your moment at B would be negative 5. So how is this? So looking at the cut section, okay, we'll just have to take moments at B. Considering the sign convention, we have MB is positive, and this would tend to bend your beam element downwards or concave downwards. So this minus 1 times x is equal to 0. Therefore, MB is or just simply we rationalize since this one is clockwise, that MB is counterclockwise. Okay. It will go against the direction. So therefore, your 1 here will bend your beam downwards, and MB will be negative. So therefore, this is negative x. Or for a more rationalized solution, just stick to the rule. You do not need to assume any direction for MB. Just stick to the rule that the MX is summation moments at that point, concave upwards positive, concave downwards negative. So therefore MX is equal to 1 would tend to bend your fiber downwards, that is negative 1 times x. So that's it. So to avoid confusion, we will go away to assuming the direction of MB. Just stick to the rule that you do not have to assume direction for your moment, but to follow this ruling. Okay, so substituting the values, we obtain the value of MB. So finally, we plot, and this will now be our bending moment at point B. Okay. So a while ago, we have obtained this to be negative 2.5 because at this section, just right of B, we found that mx is equal to negative 1 by x. And on this segment, we found also that mx is constantly equal to 0. Okay, so this will be our ILD, influence line diagram, for the bending moment at point B. Okay, so that's it for the tabular method. So I hope the next step would be for you to have practice, and first you get ready for seat work for this. So before I'll end my presentation, let us have a brief reflection on why we need to calculate moments. So as we can see in the picture, we have a truck recovering a certain thing there. So perhaps it is a vehicle that was submerged on this river, and then the truck started to lift that white vehicle there. Okay. So as you can see, because of the moment effect, your truck will tend to rotate or overturn, start to overturning towards that direction. So it lifted the white vehicle until the truck finally overturns together with the white vehicle. Okay. So a bigger truck would tend to lift the truck and the white car a while ago. And as you can see, there is a bracing here, okay, so as to protect this truck from overturning. And it does really lifted the white car, and then after which it needs to lift the other truck. Okay, until it is also overturned by the weight of the truck. So that is why we really need to calculate moment. Okay, so this ends my presentation, and thank you for listening.